Well, welcome back to a monsoon that is hitting us. We are eating our hair and getting very wet. We may just about be undercover, but we're not escaping it, I can tell you that. Let's go straight down to the tunnel and go join George.
With the Widnes coach, Dennis Betts. Dennis, you've just emerged from the dressing room. It didn't seem like much was said in there. What can you say after an afternoon like that?
Yeah, well, you just got to recognise when you're second best, and that's what happened today. We started the game okay, but then we just started losing collision. We was on the back foot. They were standing up playing the ball. They were falling through our line. It was both with the ball and without the ball. We were second best at lots of things today. And we've got to give credit. Castleford played very, very well, and we didn't perform at all.
How soon during that match did you realise that it wasn't going to be your day today?
Oh, we're still getting at half time. We talked about a couple of things that we need to do, and so we got a little bit more energy about ourselves, but the game was virtually, like I say, Castleford was shutting up shop. They had so much energy. We needed to score early in the second half. We needed really to get something out of the first half, but I just had this feeling when you look at that first 20-25 minutes and you can see that, like I say, you're second best across a couple of things. It's a hard pill to swallow, and not to admit that you're looking down the barrel, you're going to need something really big to pull yourself forward. But we just today, we looked like we got in the headlights a couple of times. Our passing was off, our skill was down. It's one of those kind of things where expectation just weighs heavily on you, and I think we failed today. But we'll use this lesson and we'll press on. I've just said to the players there, I said, what you've got to do is you've got to get back on the stage again to put this right. How you go about that is, if you feel sorry for yourself and you walk away sulking, then you never put yourself back in that situation. We need to go away, realise what it was to be here and how important it was to be here, and come back stronger.
Will it be hard to pick them up after that? They look devastated in there.
Well, I'll let you know in 7 days' time we play Huddersfield. So yeah, well, that's my job this week. It's about how we motivate them. Yeah, we're going to give them a couple of days off. They've got to cope with that little bit of sadness that's inside them. But this is about week in, week out. We know that we've got to be better, and we know we've got to come back stronger, and we've got to regroup. And there's a lot of strength in this side. We've had to do that quite a few times. My challenge and this team's challenge now is being more consistent in some of our performances, and when we get to this stage again, making sure we put in a better performance.
So how do you build now, when the dust settles on missing Wembley, and you look at what you've achieved already this season with the playoffs potentially to come as well? How do you make sure that this is an upward curve for the Widnes Vikings?
It's an upward curve. We're in the semi-final. We're still in the 8 after the season we've had. Like you say, our supporters really enjoyed today. They're going to be massively disappointed, but the anticipation of Wembley really whetted their appetite. The players in there, some of them have never been to this stage before and had to go through that, and they've not dealt with it well today. So we'll use that as a tool. We'll move them forward, and we'll just keep building. Like I say, the quest for me and the job that I have is to get better every single year. Again, we're a little bit better this year. We're in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. We've been in the 8 all season, and we're going to push really hard to make sure we stay in the 8 at the end of the year.
And a final word, Dennis, on your fans today. If anyone had waltzed into the stadium with about 20 to go when you were really up against it on the score, but they wouldn't have known what the score was, because all the singing, all the dancing, all the celebration was from the Widnes fans.
Oh, they took the Castleford challenge. I think Castleford fans were pretty good as well. They were singing away, and they threw down the challenge, and the Widnes fans backed up. Like I said, they're disappointed. They're massively disappointed, as the players are, to not be taking that next step and going to Wembley. But what they've got here is they've not had this for a long time at this kind of level, and like I said, there's a full house here. Two really good supported clubs that have got a lot of history in this competition. Our job is to know that we come back next year, and if we get to a semi-final, we don't fold like we did today.
Thanks for speaking to us, Dennis.
You're very welcome, George.
Very articulate there, Dennis Betts, in defeat. There is Darryl Powell. The players have come back out despite the weather to see the fans, to celebrate with the fans and their family, who are clearly up in the stands. We asked for your 4 letters to sum up the match, and I think this one pretty much does it. From clearly a Cass fan, Graham, it's we're off to Wembley. So 4 words to sum up the performance today. We're off to Wembley. That is Castleford, but just a word on Widnes, because Dennis spoke very eloquently there, didn't he? And we shouldn't forget what they have already achieved and can go on and achieve this season.
And you have to have that sobriety, don't you? They've done really well. They're in the 8. They've said where they're at. They've been beaten by a better team. And that can happen every week. Every week you play, if you're bested by somebody who's on their game, then you take that on the chin. That won't hide the disappointment of the fans and the reflection, but they'll get over it because they've had stability at the club for a while now, and they've grown every year. And they've got a clear message and a clear intention. They'll get better next year. And if they get this opportunity again, they'll be better for it.
We talked about Kevin Brown before the game. It wasn't his day, was it? Nothing seemed to go for him.
Yeah, he tried a lot of things and it just wasn't really working out for him. The kicks early doors a little bit too long, and that was sort of the tale of his story early doors. And he had a couple of good efforts and he was trying to do the right thing, but these kicks are all yardage kicks. They're out of his own half because the team's just not getting forward. And then when he did try and pass the ball wide, there was a few errors off the back of it. And sometimes maybe not the right decision, exact right time, execution as well there.
I think sometimes as a player, when you've high standards throughout the year, I don't think Kevin Brown was massively off. You can see his class here when he makes his break, which eventually leads to a try for Widnes. I don't think he was massively off the game, but he was slightly off, and that's just enough in these big games. In the big games, the small margins count, and I think for him, he was just off in those areas. It's not a lot to worry about too much. I just think if we can go back to Castleford being excellent, being absolutely excellent, and thoroughly deserving the win.
Yeah, I can't give Castleford enough plaudits. They've been good all year, and everybody's talked about when this bubble's going to burst. It was never going to burst. Their team ethic's too good. Their players are too good. They've got some excellent players, and you look at how well they defend as well when they're under pressure. At one stage, Widnes had a little bit of a sniff in the game, and they defended well again. That means a lot to them. The coaches instill that ethos of hard work for each other and pride in their performance, and they're not going to go away.
I think with the bubbles, it's to do with form. If you've only got form, but culture is an everyday habit. It's everyday habits and values that they have, and that don't break. That doesn't go away. It overcomes injuries, as we've seen today. It overcomes lack of form, because that's what you're living and breathing every day. They're the values that you set yourself, and I think Daryl Powell has done a fantastic job in installing those values within the club and establishing a great culture.
He's also, I read one of the quotes in the week, he's worked with the families where they very much brought all the players' families and children into it, and that must all help the spirit.
I think sometimes you've got to get the players on side. As a new coach as well, you earn their respect. And it works both ways. But if the coach can get everyone on side and get them almost fighting for the coach and making sure that they're doing everything they can for each other on the field and off the field with the coaching staff as well, I think that makes it easier. They work hard for each other. And it's those little 1%ers. You know, when something's not going your way, they will make that extra 1% effort to get there and work hard for the teammates.
And if we're honest, the bosses are the people that are at home and the family. And if you're going home after a tough day at the offices and your partners and your children engage with that, and they're supportive and they know what you've been through, and they go to the club and they're supportive and they understand the rigours and the rigmaroles and the culture of the club, and they're part of that success and everybody's part of the success, it makes it a whole lot easier. It's more about, as much about what happens away from the field and how comfortable you are when you go home as it is about when you're at your work.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think
is that something maybe you picked up at Leeds because you're very keen on all of that?
Yeah, I just think to be a good rugby league player, it's not a 9-to-5 job, all right? It's a lifestyle, and if it's a lifestyle, that means you're doing it 24 hours, 7 days a week, and that involves your family. So your family need to understand the sacrifices that you're going to have to go through if you want to be successful. It's not about turning up and just getting paid. You want to be successful. So to involve them in those decisions and make them feel part of the job and what you do is a fantastic way of building, again, a strong culture, and you can see that's been evident today.
They were clinical, weren't they, Castleford? They were clinical in that first half, and Jamie talked about playing to a game plan. They clearly played to the game plan, didn't they?
Yeah, they did so well, and we were talking about Darryl Clark at the beginning of the game, and we knew it would come off the back of probably either bad defence or a great carry. On this occasion, I think it's just lack of communication as much as anything else, not willing to put in the extra effort to tackle, get up and get to marker, and these are the things that bite you later on, because off the back of that, Darryl Clark makes the break, gets it onto Finn in the end, and then it's an easy run-in, but it's probably down to the fact that Widnes weren't quite there. They weren't quite on it at the beginning of the game, whereas Castleford, they knew exactly what they wanted out of the game and how to utilise those errors by the Widnes team. Yeah,
and if you're any chance against Castleford, and this is from the set play where Sneed brings Clark around with his speed, if you're any chance against Castleford, you've got to cure that ruck area.
It's a wonderful try this. Daryl Powell will be very pleased with this, and so will Darryl Clark. I think this is an area that we're going to have to be good at if we want to beat Castleford in the final, is that they'll have some plays, and we need to be aware from set plays, from taps, from scrums, that Darryl Powell will be scrutinising our defence and where our weaknesses and what can we surprise you with. And I think in big games you need the surprise. I know when you was coaching us, Nobby, you put it to us that you need a surprise. You need to be able to squeeze a try from somewhere that's unexpected.
Something that's unexpected that you don't normally do that brings you a reward, and there are risks that come with that. You've got to be brave, and Darryl's a brave coach. You have to change things in the big game that just might give you that advantage.
I think the risks come with that is if everybody's not switched on, and in the day-to-day games you get that, but in a final you expect everybody there to be switched on and being ready to play, and if there is a mistake then you'll cover it up. But I think having set players are great in big games.
Well, let's get down to Robbie, because he has got Michael Shenton with him.
Yes, I'm in the changing room with Michael Shenton. Michael, you got to be happy with that.
Elated, really. I mean, it's an amazing feeling. It feels a little bit surreal, to be honest, at the moment. Just a great performance from the boys. One of our best of the season. Just how composed we were in the big game environment, and the way we handled certain parts of the game were great. And I think there's some leadership boys who really led us around the park today, and just big performances, 1-17.
Now, the conditions weren't on your side. You had to take that into account, but you really did stick to your game plan.
Well, I'm not sure. I think we've played in some tough conditions. I mean, Widnes like to throw the ball about, so I think we know we can tighten our game up when we need to, and I think we showed that today. We really tightened our game up. We threw it about a little bit just to stretch him, but I think just really composed, finished assets, plenty of like double deals, back-to-back sets, and I think that really built the pressure in it. It's what we talked about all week, and it's really paid off.
What does it mean to you? What will it mean to the town of Castleford to actually get there to the Challenge Cup final?
Well, they put a little bit of pressure on us over the last 8 weeks, and we've tried to put it to the back of our mind, but this week building up to it, it's been amazing. Just the support we've had, it's incredible. And I'm so happy for those guys, because everyone knows it's been a tough few years down the lane for everyone to do with Castleford. So, and that's just a big shout out to our chairman as well. He's stuck by the club through some tough times, and he's got us out of trouble quite a lot. So, but good on you, Jack.
You've done it. Congratulations, pal.
Well, we've got Darryl Powell waiting for us as well. Darryl, many, many congratulations. As a Castleford lad, what's it going to mean to you to send them out at Wembley?
Oh, yeah, awesome. Obviously, it's still sinking in. It was a big performance from the players today. We've got a great opportunity now to go to Wembley and an all-Yorkshire final, which is a dream final for me, to be honest. I think the players have been superb this year, and today they were just the same again. Just an awesome performance from everybody concerned.
Darryl, it's JP here. I thought the performance there was outstanding. I was just wondering, have you any ideas what your game plan's going to be in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, mate, you'll do a lot of work, mate, I think. Yeah, mate, we know it's going to be a tough challenge. I think, the two teams were as close as you could be the last time we played, so certainly looks like it's going to be an outstanding final. Darryl, Nobby, well done. Congratulations, superb effort today. A couple of things tactically for our viewers to get our heads around. In and around the ruck, obviously we know the prowess of Darryl Clark, but it seemed to be a particular tactic that you worked over the Widnes people in and around the middle there, and the start of the game as well. Was that a particular thing you had in mind? Oh, well, with Bertha coming along, the storm, we weren't sure whether we were going to go plan A or plan B, and we switched between the two a couple of times. But, yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty good forward pack, so it'd be foolish not to utilise their strengths. And obviously Darryl Clark and Jamie Ellis, I thought both of them did an immense job around the ruck area today. And our big men were superb, as they have been all year. And another thing in a big game, we saw yesterday the Leeds team get away with a big start. You must have been thrilled with the start that you got in relation to carrying on with the game, which was a pretty complete performance of 17 players. But your kicking game in the second half, just Liam Feen seemed to be quite comfortable of kicking the ball dead in the backfield and making Widnes do all the hard work with the start that you got. Yeah, the start was very, very good, and we've hit Widnes with a couple of those this year. So obviously we're delighted. It's crucial in big games you get a good start, and we did that. There was a real focus about the players. It wasn't in the plan to kick it dead all the time. It was pretty greasy out there, and once the ball hit the deck, Finney was probably putting an extra 5 metres on it, and they just went out the back. But to be fair, it took a fair bit of gas out of Widnes, and I think it demoralised them the more they had to keep doing that. So it worked out pretty well for us.
Darryl, just from myself, I think this year you've shown through your coaching that culture can withstand anything, withstand injuries to key players. How have you gone about changing and establishing that culture at Castleford?
Oh, we've used the history a fair bit, and I think there's about 10 of the past players talking to our guys the other night just about their experiences, and I've done that pretty much because I'm a Castleford boy. I understand what it means to everybody concerned. So we've built it around a lot of honesty and trust and integrity, and tied all that into the past and what Castleford means to everybody as a club. And it's a fantastic club with the support you saw today, just awesome. And you put all that together and you get the right type of players. I think is crucial, the right type of people, and you put them all together. And you try and coach them in the right way, and the whole mix I think is really good at the moment. So the key is to maintain that, and obviously we've got some tough challenges coming up, and hopefully our culture will help us to drive ourselves for those challenges ahead.
So Darryl, do the preparations start now for Wembley?
Well, yeah, they do. Off the field they do, but on the field we've got a pretty tough challenge against Warrington on Friday, which it's going to be difficult. Obviously, they got rattled a little bit yesterday. They'll be highly motivated. They're a good side, and we're in a pretty good position in the league. And to be able to switch between the two is a special thing. And if we can do it, then we'll give ourselves a great opportunity in both comps. And it's always difficult to recognise that, but we've got to be able to do it. And I think we've got the players that are grounded who can deliver on both fronts.
And just a word on Craig Hubie. It looked pretty nasty. I have thoughts with him because it looked like he's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah, hopefully there's not a break in there. He's obviously dislocated his elbow, which is not a great injury in itself. But if there's no break in there, then it hopefully won't be too serious. But he's gone to hospital. We'll get him checked out, and obviously gutted for him if he's not going to be available. He's been at Castleford a long time. Been through some tough times, so when the big games come around, you want players like that to be available. So hopefully he'll be okay.
Well, Rob Burrow has tweeted saying, "Congratulations, Cass. Will be a great final in 2 weeks." Darryl, thanks ever so much for joining us. Enjoy the brief time you get to celebrate, and we will see you at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, let's go back to Robbie, who's with Andy Lynch.
All right, I got Andy Lynch with me in the victorious team's changing room. Andy, that's 2 finals in 2 years. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, it's great. We got there with all last year, and it makes it even a better feeling getting there with Cass this year. My team where I started and where I am back now.
Now, the conditions out there weren't the greatest. Become a little wet before front row. You must love that sort of rugby.
Yeah, it was great. We had a game plan to go out there and move the ball about. And when we went out in warm up, it dried up and it was nice and sunny. So we reverted to plan A. We lined up in tunnel afterwards. No, let's revert to plan B. So it changed as we went out. So we went back to plan B, and so it worked for us early on. We went straight up the middle, and we got the front foot.
Yeah, 10 minutes into the game, you were 10 points ahead. You must have felt really confident from minute one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had to be confident coming into this game, just the way we've been going this year, and everyone's been looking forward to this for 8 weeks now. So we're just glad to get out there and actually do a job on them.
So we're now looking at an all Yorkshire final, Castleford versus Leeds. It's a massive local derby, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive. It's great. Leeds coming to Cass, or Cass going to Leeds, but to play at Wembley, it's a massive honour to put both teams to play each other. So it's going to be good, and really looking forward to it.
Now the whole town of Cass will be buzzing. It's only 2 weeks away as the final, not next Saturday, but the Saturday after. What's the momentum, the energy going to be like in the town?
Oh, it's going to be massive now. I think the people buzzing all over. You could tell from the fans at the end it was a massive thing for them, and I just thought they were great all the way along. But one thing for me is, again, I spoke about it in the week, is Jack Fulton. He does a lot of stuff that goes unnoticed. He lets Powley and Danny get on with it, and for him to lead us out at Wembley, I just think it'd be awesome for him and his family, and for us as a club.
Thank you, mate, and congratulations. Good luck.
Cheers.
It's incredible hearing them all, isn't it, talking about the families, about the chairman. It real get a celebrating. We got out of there just in time, I think. A real sense of a unity within the club now.
It's really refreshing, I think, as a player to look at another team, and they're actually talking about everyone in the background as much as anything else. And I think that's what's been impressive. They work hard for each other on the field, like we've said, and off the field. They have that bond, and I think that's really important to get you anywhere, really. And to get to a final is fantastic against Leeds as well. This is going to be one big game.
Oh, wonderful to hear Darryl Patrick. And a lot of us have wondered for a long time why he hadn't got it back into Super League quicker, because he's a tremendous coach, clearly.
Well, 2 things. There are a lot of talented British coaches out there that are plying their trade in the Championship and plying their trade in the Super League, and that's been recognised. And I think the success of both Darryl, people like Darryl and Dennis Betts, let's not forget the job he's done at Widnes, are two prime examples of if you've got the patience and the solidity and the culture and the vision, and you share that vision as to where you're going, then you can be very successful.
Is that a culture, you heard Darryl talking there, is that a culture you recognise from what's happened at Leeds and the way that club is built?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can continually get to finals just through form or through luck, and we've had that at Leeds over the last 7, 8, 9 years, and I think that's down to some of the values we have, which are consistent with what Darryl mentioned, which are hard work, honesty, and being together, and being honest with each other all the time, and delivering it, and caring about the club, caring about a lot of players within Leeds cared about Leeds. We cared about what the image of the club is, and it's a dream for a lot of our players, speaking from my own experience, to play for Leeds, and that seems pretty similar with Castleford. I think Darryl's established that. They've realised that Castleford is a great club, a club with great traditions, and the players need to respect that and respect the players who've gone before them, and stand on their shoulders almost, and that's what you've got to try to do as a player.
Sorry, the notes are flying around, the hair's going everywhere. Earl, you're struggling, I know. It's not good weather for you with hair, is
No,
it?
this hairspray tastes absolutely awful. It's going in my mouth, it's not a nice one.
But it's been fabulous, hasn't it, to have not just Castleford but Widnes here, and to see these clubs, as you've talked about, regaining their identity and being back at the top of the game.
You could see the passion in the actual supporters themselves. I mean, Widnes' performance overall wasn't brilliant, but the way that the Widnes fans responded to that was absolutely fantastic, and that's how much it means to the club and also the supporters as well. They're both going in the right direction, both of these teams, and with support like that, it's the way it should be.
I think that's the beauty of the Challenge Cup. You don't need to have that grind, that 27-round grind of Super League and deliver every week. You can deliver in 3 or 4 games and you're at Wembley, or you can deliver in 3 and you're in a semi-final and get to have a great day out. Like some of the Widnes fans, they lost, but they had a great day out anyway. You saw how much they were celebrating throughout the game, and like George said, if you'd have walked in, you'd have thought they were winning.
And it has been a tremendous atmosphere, hasn't it? We shouldn't forget what a fabulous afternoon it's been.
Full house, and as I explained on the commentary, I've never seen a semi-naked men in my life. Everybody was having a blast in this weather, particularly. That's why I was making the point. I think it's been a great afternoon. I thought both sets of fans are absolute credit to the game, and we saw the noise levels that they created at the start when we were on the sideline. It was difficult to hear each other, and that just has all the ingredients of a great game. And unfortunately, Widnes couldn't quite match the prowess of Castleford today, but it didn't distract away from the fact that both sets of fans have put on a special fair.
Now, you may remember that we set you a challenge, the Challenge Cup challenge, and Johnny Vegas was watching and tweeted us and wanted to know a bit more. Your time is coming up. He has said, will it involve putting my pint down? Johnny, you can try it whichever way you like. Here's John Wilkin to explain.
The Challenge Cup challenge, 4 kicks, a conversion from the 20-metre line, a drop goal from the 20-metre line, little shuffle to the 10 metres, drop goal with your bad foot, and then hit the post with a grubber kick. Whoever completes that in the quickest time will be the winner. It sounds really easy. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, go! Strike. Right foot drop goal. Oh, wow. Yes, strike, Jimmy. Back foot now. Biggest nose in Super League. Got it. Oh, terrible. Oh no, his pressure's got to him. Try left foot, lad. Yes, got it. Go. Oh, Tekkers. What does that mean? Miss right. Strike. He looks composed, a bit slow. Nice. Gareth O'Brien, Warrington, Super League's answer to Gollum. Start. Strike. It's beautiful. Natural kicker, isn't it? Natural. That was horrible. That was disgusting. Oh. Yes, I think so. I think so. Oh no, that was pathetic. Yes. Yes. Excellent. No pressure, lads, but he's a back rower, the only back rower to do this. Yes, straight. That's over, that's over. He's just taking it steady, you see. This is what back rowers do, nice and comfortable. Bad foot, easy. Bit of a rush on, mate, you might win this. No. No. Yes. Jack, congratulations. It means a lot, doesn't it, to the players, this, obviously, the Challenge Cup challenge.
Yeah, it really did, you know. When I got the phone call to come down, I've been practising back at the stadium and had a few practice goals there, and I was lucky enough to get the win.
Well done, mate.
Cheers,
All
mate.
seriousness, good luck for the Challenge Cup running.
Thank
and
you.
all the best.
Cheers.
Sadly, wasn't his day today, but you can take on the Challenge Cup challenge by going on the BBC Sport website. You'll need to time yourselves doing conversions, drop goals off either foot and a grubber kick against the post, all in the quickest time. And we'll look to show a couple of people having a go during our coverage of the Challenge Cup final in a couple of weeks' time. Email your photos and times, no fibbing please, to getinspired at bbc.co.uk, or you can tweet at BBC Sport using the hashtag CC Challenge. And John Wilkin will be with us for the final. He is recuperating from his operation at the moment. But all the best, John, and thanks for doing that. Well, I think we should make all you three have a go.
I did the other week against Castleford. I failed
after your drop goal.
I'm out. I've ruled myself out. I've had my one and only drop goal in my
I was
career.
looking a bit worried as well.
I'm reckoning a chance against these two.
Yeah.
Nobby, I've seen you. You know no chance.
I think we have a piece. I think Nobby, you've just been commissioned. I just heard him here. Edison says, yep, that's you.
Your knee will fall off.
I think, forget the build-up. We'll just have a half hour of you attempting to probably take the half hour.
I reckon I'm a chance.
Else keeping quiet.
No, well, thinking about Nobby, 20 metres, I don't think he'll kick it that far. And I saw JP's drop goal a few weeks back. I was there at that game. It was a good effort. I fancy my chances as well, yeah.
We're looking forward to Johnny Vegas as well, with pint or without pint. Now, let's look ahead to that final. Obviously, you'll be playing. I've got to ask you, how did the players stop thinking about the previous finals, what's gone before?
I just think you've just got to get on with it. I can only speak from my personal point of view, and I have no issue with the games I've lost there. They're against different teams, different occasions, different years, and this is a different one. We're playing a different side in Castleford, and you just got prepared to win. You've got to go out there and be confident and just think you're going to win the game, and that for me is key. I think if we can develop that mindset, then we'll give ourselves every chance of winning this game.
We'll get your thoughts in a moment, but let's just hear from Danny Tickle.
Danny, thanks for joining us. How tough was today to take?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I thought Castleford handled the game better than us. The composure, they built a lot of pressure early parts of the game, and they just kept turning us around. And I think if you asked most of the boys in the changing room, what could they have done better? There'd be a lot of answers from each individual. So we was off today, but full credit to Castleford. I thought they turned up, they ran harder, tackled harder, they did all the simple things better than us.
It's not a good place to be losing in a semi-final as a player like yourself who's experienced a final and knows how special an occasion it is.
Yeah, we knew what type of game it was in for. I thought they handled it better than us, and we've got players who's been there in our team before. Like I said, the occasion probably got the better of us, and they kept turning us around with good field position, scored off the back of a couple of kicks. We was coming up with some sloppy errors, and myself included. So yeah, we've got to hold our hand up and just say we weren't good enough to win on the day.
Your coach, Dennis Betts, says his job is to pick you up now for the run into the Super League season, but as players you've got to take on that responsibility yourselves to make sure you're ready to play again and get your heads up.
Yeah, it's going to be disappointing for a couple of days. It'll take a while to get over it, but it's important that we don't sulk as a team. We work together and regroup and look at the positives. And I mean, it's hard to take many out of that game. We know that we wasn't good enough on the day, so we'll regroup and look forward to a tough week. And it's important that we do improve on this defeat and take out of what we can learn from it. So leading into the back end of the season.
Appreciate you talking to us, Danny. Thank you.
Cheers.
Jamie Bryan said yesterday he won't do anything different with you guys. Have you lot talked about it yet amongst yourselves about the next couple of weeks?
You talk a little bit straight after the game about wanting to put things right and wanting to perform well at Wembley. I think you've got to get this week out of the way first. You've got to play London. We've got to perform well against London, and then you'll focus on Wembley. I think it is crucial that you've been there before and you know what to deal with the tickets. You've been there, Earl. You know that, Nobby. You've got to deal with the tickets. You've got to deal with your family, the hotels, and you've obviously been there before. It's just about getting it right for the game there. I thought that was really refreshing, Danny Tickle's honesty there. I think it's a good starting point for Widnes, actually, for moving on from this semi-final.
Michael Shenton talked about the composure that the side played. He didn't seem surprised, but he talked about it a lot, didn't he? The composure that Castleford side played in what's a new experience for them. That's going to stand them in good stead, though, isn't it, for Wembley?
Yeah, I like the fact that they were talking about 2 game plans, which is smart play, really, simply because of the conditions. You can't just play in one way and think, right, that'll be enough. They decided to do things a little bit differently, and they kept changing it, and that is a great ability to have. If you can change your game plan during a game as well as much as anything else, that just means everyone's on board. They all know their jobs, no matter what it is, so they're going to work hard for each other, which helps them get through the game. But to have the right game plan in place is fantastic as well. And
we shouldn't forget that they've got some quite experienced players in that side, and it's not a bunch of youngsters, and the coach is going to be key.
This is a big matchup. I'm really looking forward to the final. I think I watched a classic 18-0 was it the other week. I just thought it was a brilliant game of rugby league. We want more of the same, and I think with these 2 teams particularly, we'll get that. There's a challenge on both sides of the fence, and the big question that will be asked of the Leeds team, and they'll get it until they're sick to the back teeth of the same question, but that's the itch that they've got to scratch themselves. They've got to get rid of that by doing well on the field and getting their just rewards if they're good on the day. But Castleford have a lot of momentum behind them.
I think it's got all the makings of a classic. I know I'm involved in it, but we've got key matchups all over the pitch. The 2 games we played in, we beat them by 2 points, and we had a draw and a sending off, so it's going to be an interesting game in 2 weeks' time.
Jamie, cover your ears. I'm going to ask for your predictions, champs, on the final.
Well, it's 2 weeks to go, and personnel can change. I don't know. These 2 semi-finals we couldn't call before they went out there, could we? And we've seen there's 2 points between the 2 teams in 2 games, so there's no reason to think it'd be any different.
Your career as a politician lies ahead. Earl, are you going to sit on the same fence?
Yes, I am, actually, yeah. I'm going to sit on his knee.
I'm so glad I asked. Politics for both of you. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Good luck in the final. May the best team win. It's a cold and blustery Leeds Sports Village, but we have had a fantastic day here. We know that Leeds will play Castleford in the Challenge Cup final at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time. We will be there, and it's the first of much more rugby league to come in coming weeks here on the BBC. Bye-bye.